The things that you agree upon ultimately become your truth. I read this book called The Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. If you know Beauties and Cuties. It's such a good book. It's very short and concise. It's a very good read. Highly recommend. In the book, there was this little story about this young girl who was very beautiful, and she believed that she was very beautiful. Up until she heard from her mother that she wasn't beautiful. Like, I think her mother said that she didn't look good one day or something like that. And then that little girl really internalized those words and agreed upon those words that were said upon her by her mom. With her agreeing upon those words, she then internalized that truth within herself and ultimately believed herself to be ugly and grew up with that belief. Now, it's really spooky how powerful our words can be. But if we utilize our words and agreements in the right direction, it could be very empowering for us to grow ourselves, to create for ourselves a life that we really, really want. And it all starts on what you agree upon. And now when I read this and when I really just let it marinate in my brain, it just changed the game for me. I didn't internalize a lot of things that people said about me a lot. I only anchored myself in the truths that I wanted for myself, that I knew that I wanted to empower myself with, and agreed upon those. And you learn how to somewhat filter the words that people say about you, because when you don't agree with them, you choose to deflect those false truths that you don't agree upon. And thus, those won't affect you in any way, because it will never plant a seed in your mind that will limit you or that will cause those limiting, hateful words to grow within yourself. Because you are so anchored in the knowledge that you only agree upon the things to which you deserve and that which grows you. I think it's made me somewhat invincible. And again, I am human, especially like when I encounter like homophobic people in public sometimes and they say hurtful things. Like, sometimes it does bug me. But I've learned to never internalize those things, because ultimately those people's words are just projections more about themselves than it says about me as a whole. It doesn't really define me as a person, especially if it comes from a stranger that I really just don't know. Like, why would I agree with a perfect stranger about myself when I've known myself for all my life? Just let that sink into you, that no matter what, you choose your destiny based upon the agreements that you make with yourself, from the things that you learn about, the things that you hear from others, the things that others may say to you. You can take and choose and filter which ones you want and which ones you don't want to internalize. And I think that's the trippiest thing about this life, is that our words are truly impeccable in that sense. Our words have the power to build us or destroy us. But yeah, learning this was a true blessing, because I feel like ever since I took his words and ran with it, I have really chosen to consciously create my life in more ways than one. And I would like to just remind you that you could do the same. You just have the choice. You always have the choice. So decide wisely, beauties and cuties.